So it seems Avowed might be experiencing what, Indiana Jones, Horizon, Forbidden West, and other games have experienced along the way, and that is mistiming your launch. Now, I get it, when it comes to Xbox Game Pass, it shouldn't impact it that much, but as we saw with Indiana Jones, the impact was quite surreal when they released it with Path of Exiles. But you know what, let's have the drop and just get right into it. So, as you can see here, I'm looking at Indiana Jones, and obviously this was a 2024 game. It was released in December, but the unfortunate thing with Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is that, well, it coincided with the release of Path of Exiles 2, and as we all know, that game just blew up like crazy. Everyone was playing it, well, almost everyone. Especially on PC, it absolutely dominated. And so when you're looking at it from that front, and the opening week is really important, because that's when anyone that's interested in the game is going to buy it at full price. If you miss the first week, you're essentially just going to wait for a sale along the way and buy it on sale. The first week, especially the first few days, are really important, so you need to time your launch extremely well so it doesn't coincide with everything. We already saw how when Horizon decided to go toe-to-toe with Elden Ring and believed that it could actually overcome Elden Ring, it got a rude awakening, and it found out real quick, real fast, that Elden Ring was not a pushover, and that decision was an extremely bad one. And all their other releases kind of coincided with big games, and ultimately, outside of the success of Horizon Zero Dawn, the Horizon series have kind of stumbled along the way just due to mistimed timing of releases. And we've seen this with other games, right? If I'm not mistaken, EA released their big Battlefield alongside Titanfall. Titanfall was never going to get the time of day. They kind of murdered it before it even came out. They didn't give it a chance, right? They kind of ruined any chance that it had of being successful the moment it released because the timing was so bad. So timing is everything. So why am I talking about this in an Avowed video? Well, it's because Avowed is coming out in February, and it's coming out a few days after the big release of Kingdom Come Deliverance. Now, I've not been interested in this game at all, and even I am getting bought into the hype in actually considering picking it up and playing it. And both of these games are gigantic mammoths of games. And when we're looking at the games, they're not that dissimilar. Sure, one's magic, one's more sword and based. I don't really know anything about Kingdom Come Deliverance, by the way. I'm just being bought into the hype, right? And the hype is everything. Now, someone like me, who had no interest and is still considering buying it, these are the stragglers that come in week 2. And then after week 2, it's kind of a forgotten thing, and you'll pick it up when the game goes on sale. But Avowed could potentially have the same problem that Indiana Jones had, that Horizon Forbidden West had, and Titanfall had. These are big issues, and the timing of these games are just not good. You'd think Microsoft would learn from this. It's clear that Ubisoft learned from it. I know they're saying that they needed a bit more time, and so they pushed it out by a couple of months. But no, what Ubisoft did there essentially was, this month is really crowded. So what we're going to do is, we're not going to, essentially cuck our game potential sales. We're going to move it out into a window where it's not so busy. And so we can actually enjoy the fruits of our labour. Whether the game's going to be successful or not is another thing altogether. But you want to give your game the best chance it possibly can have. Add to that, this game is available on Game Pass for £15 a month. I know it's $20 in the US, but I'm in the UK. And, best deal in gaming, by far, in my opinion, right now anyway. You can kind of wait to play it. You can focus your time on Kingdom Come Deliverance and play it. Play that, and then it's on Game Pass anyway. You're not really losing anything. You've subscribed for a year, but it's on Game Pass. So, as far as people are concerned, they can just put it to the side. It's not going anywhere. They've paid for they've got like a year's, 2 years, 3 years worth of sub. So they can come to this game whenever they want. But those numbers at the start are really important for investors, for shareholders. They want to see those numbers racking up day one like they were with Starfield. And so I'm really concerned that Avowed could potentially be hitting the same problem that Indiana Jones did, Horizon did, because the timing of their games is just bad. And I'm not the only one thinking this, right? Stormfall over here says, "Ah yes, release your RPG 9 days after one of the most anticipated RPGs of the year. Masterful gambit, Microsoft." Now, obviously, you know, you can delay your game and hopefully find a sweet spot. At some point, the games do need to come out, right? That's not something that you can sugarcoat or hold on to or try and prevent. At some point, the games do need to come out. But it's a new IP. It's an IP that has been riddled with problems from PR points of view and others. You know, it's not had the easiest ride. We found out through the creative director that, you know, in an interview at a time when, you know, the hype is building for this game, PlayStation are also getting a version of this game, she kind of let it slip. She didn't say no, so that pretty much confirms that it's coming, and obviously that's going to affect some people. This kind of, you know, even if that doesn't affect, and maybe that's going to affect people signing up to Game Pass now, right? There was no notion of this going to PlayStation. At the end of the day, it was a case-by-case basis, and even though Phil's, and yes, Phil said there's no red line, but it doesn't mean that everything's going to go, even though he's saying that there's no reason for nothing not to go. The messaging is just weird. I don't care what anyone says. The messaging is just weird. This isn't copium, this isn't hopium, but the point I'm trying to make is, if someone was going to sign up to Game Pass to play this now that has a PlayStation, they are now going to wait for that PlayStation release. They're not going to bother with the Game Pass. So, in my opinion, that's also going to affect this. And from what we've heard from the actual directors, that the game is releasing buggy, is releasing with jank. So they've openly come out and forefront and told us this from the get-go. So you're not even getting a complete version. The complete version that's going to come out, that's going to be potentially bug-free and in the best possible state, is the one that's coming later. Let that sink in. But knowing all of this, can you honestly say that this impact on Avowed is not going to be felt? I'm personally hoping, you know, that the game does well, the game is successful, and the game is good. You know, we need good games, and hopefully this will spur on a generation of different, you know, generation of games in the Avowed name. But you can't help but wonder what Microsoft is doing. Releasing it alongside one of the biggest games. It sold 1 million copies within 2 days, which is amazing. It is multi-platform, of course. And, you know, it's going to sell more. Obviously, it's got the whole controversy as well behind it, because you can have the male-and-male relationships, like who cares? It's a thing in real world, to deal with it. But the reality is, I think that releasing this at the time it's coming out is not the best idea. Is not the best move by Microsoft. I appreciate they probably can't move it out anymore, especially after the original delay. Maybe they should have had some more foresight as to other games coming out around that time. You've got Monster Hunter Wilds not that far away as well. So, I don't know. I'm really hoping that it doesn't have any impact on Avowed, but if it does, at least you know why those numbers are going to be lower. Not because the game is trash, or the game is bad, or the game is this and that. It's just because there are other big releases around at the time of release that is going to occupy that space within your catalog to actually play. And because this game is available on Game Pass, you can just play it in, you know, March, April, May. It doesn't matter. Right? It's a big game. It's, you know, it's a game that you could probably try out for a few seconds, for a few minutes, see if you like it. I mean, see, most people are going to do that anyway. And then put it down and continue with the other game that they're playing. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. This is kind of interesting to me, kind of, you know. It's weird how companies don't look at the timing of the release. Timing is everything. And in my opinion, more and more studios and companies are stumbling, and the only people that pay the price for this isn't the consumer, because they still get the game whenever they get it. It's the studios when sales are low or engagement is low because something else is completely overshadowing it. And then that's when you have layoffs and studio closures. So, I don't know. I don't like it. But let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let's have that discussion, and I'll see you in the next one. Remain legend.